Welcome back to the Low Budget Podcast starring your favorite hobos, Kaiser and Toroyo.
Today we're coming at you from Charon's boat as we sail down the River Styx. He decided he would let us get a small tour around the Styx for the last few pennies that we had.
And let me tell you, the ambiance down here is beautiful. Listening to all the damn souls, it's the most relaxing thing in my life. But speaking of these damn souls, let's talk about how they got here in first place. Through the crazy interactions of removal and magic.
Yep, removal plays a pretty key role in most magic formats, especially Commander, where removal sometimes feels like it can be at your detriment when you've got multiple opponents, but that's a whole nother topic that we'll get into in a minute.
Right.
Today we really just kind of wanted to break down what each color kind of does best for its removal, or really like most commonly as well. We're going to go in, like rough mana value order, and then from there we're going to hit on different types of removal that we feel are relevant and just things that you really should consider when picking out removal for your deck.
Alright, and we're going to kick it off with white. So, with the low end of white, you have your famous one drop and exile spells of Swords of Plowshare, Chair, and
Path to Exile.
Path to Exile. And it has the white thing of giving something up or your opponent plussing in some type of way off of it.
Exactly, getting the life from swords, getting the land from path. A lot of white removal spells that get rid of creatures in particular give some type of presence or something on board or some type of value back to the opponent.
Yeah, you can look at the next mana step up from Generous Gift, giving a 3/3.
Mm-hmm. But that's also hitting any permanent as well. But again, including like creatures and land, something that white doesn't get rid of with no downside. So because of that, it still gives out something. Whereas when it comes to like artifacts and enchantments, white pretty much handles those pretty cleanly. Disenchant being the big one, just one in a white, destroy an artifact or an enchantment at instant speed. So, pretty standard. They also get creatures that sacrifice for like a similar mana value that do that effect as well. White hits on more so enchantments than artifacts, but does get artifact removal coupled with enchant removal a lot of the times. But normally not getting just artifact removal.
Yeah, but white has a very interesting access to creature removal. If you want to talk about cards like just not the removal in of itself, but like just cards that like stop things from happening, like pacify and just stopping abilities and attacking from happening.
Yeah, or hitting like exile with like banishing light as well.
Right.
And those style of effects. They also have like those other defensive kill spells where it's like destroy target tapped creature, destroy target attacking or blocking creature, and so on. Or they'll often hit like destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, or like X power or higher.
Yeah.
As well, because white weenies is a big archetype with white. So, and then as you get to the higher mana values is where you're going to start seeing the board wipes. And white has some of the best board wipes. Usually, like cheaply hitting, all creatures with something like Wrath of God, but white has evolved to hit like all non-land permanents pretty regularly, or even stuff like Farewell to Exile, the things that you're hitting, as well as graveyards as well. White does get some graveyard hate too as removal, often pretty cheap too.
Yeah. And then we're going to shift into blue with its low side being stuff like Unsummoned, which is pretty much just bouncing whatever's on the field back to hand,
Yep.
which is a way to deal with things, and in certain regards it can be a better option, but most of the time it's not going to be enough to put anything away.
One thing I do want to note is that the unsummons and things like that do combo very well with blue's main form of removal, which is hitting things on the stack. So you put it back in their hand and then counter it. Granted, you're 2-for-1ing yourself at that point, but it does work within itself to allow blue's weaker removal to help try and flow into the stronger removal. And that's where you're going to hit it like 2s and 3 drops, or free in some cases, for counter magic. Sometimes it's for certain types of spells. If you want to hit more things with your counter spells, and usually you're paying more mana. So,
And blue also has access to like just transmodifying a creature
A
and turning it
legitimate
off that
business
way.
person.
Yes, legitimate business person was
Yes.
very funny one.
Witness Protection is a great card.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite monocolored removal spell.
Um,
But
it also has a control magic once you get up there, and I consider taking your opponent's stuff to be the best form of removal.
I agree. Yes, when you're taking away something from your opponent and adding to your own board, be it the thing that you're taking away, or even something that we'll get into with other colors as well. When you can just, you know, when you're not, and it's not just a removal spell, but it's also adding something. It's always going to feel a lot better, and especially with control magic, yeah, just taking it over, having its effect, and going off from there. And then when you get to like the really high cost, or around the similar cost for that, you're gonna get like bounce to the top of the library,
Yeah.
as well. And beyond that, you're gonna get stuff like mass bounce effects, like Cyclonic Rift,
Yeah,
evacuation, and things like that that will return. Usually, it's all creatures, but in some cases, it's all non-land permanents. Blue sometimes gets like targeted styles of that with River's Rebuke, where it's 6 mana to return all non-land permanents target player controls. So.
Oh, so that talking about Cyclonic Rift actually reminded me of a game I had on Arena, which is my opponent didn't have much of a board state or anything, and they just kind of threw out their Cyclonic Rift and bounced everything I had back to my hand. But it was like so far gone into the game state that it didn't matter, and that's kind of the only real downside of Cyclonic Rift. It's like it's a it's kind of like a band-aid, but it's a band-aid with a gun attached to it.
Yeah, the thing is that you can't just fire it off with no
Yeah.
plan. What you need to do is like, okay, it's right before my turn. Bounce all of your stuff because I didn't play anything, and then use the advantage that I have to push forward and try and win or get into a winning position. If you don't have a board and then use Cyclonic Rift, maybe you needed to try and stop yourself from losing in that very moment, but that's not going to feel good.
Yeah, and it doesn't really stop you from losing next turn either. Um, but enough of harping on Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah.
Let's get to the best creature removal in the game in the blacks.
Yes, black cheaply handles creatures. Oftentimes, like at really cheap, there's some type of restriction, be it mana value, power and toughness amounts, or specific types of creatures, like non-artifact creature with Go for the Throat, or non-black creature with Doomblade, or with Power Word Kill, non-demon, angel, dragon, and other type.
Yeah.
So the cheaper it is, then usually there's some type of restriction or like a cost you pay, like life or discarding a card or something. You're not gonna get just a 2 mana kill spell with no questions in black.
Yeah. But my favorite of those the cheap 2 mana kill spells that is Feed the Swarm, because doesn't that also hit
It hits enchantments.
also.
The only issue I have with it is that it's sorcery speed. But if you're not running white or green, then you're playing black, you probably won't Feed the Swarm.
Yeah.
Just because it is still one of your most efficient ways to deal with enchantments. And then as you get higher up, you usually lose the restrictions. It's just destroy target creature. Kind of end of sentence, or maybe you still like lose
Yeah.
2 life, but then it also might hit planeswalkers in some cases, or there's some other like benefit attached. When you get up there, you also get Withering Torment at 3 mana, which is destroy target creature or enchantment, but then you just lose 2 life, so it costs more, but it's a fixed life loss rather than scaling up with Feed the Swarm.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be paying some type of price or having some restriction with black removal, but it's so little of you to ask that you're almost always going to do it.
Yeah. Like I said, black is the most efficient when it comes to killing creatures. Especially when you do start getting into the bigger aspects of black. Darn, I can't even have any cards that pop to mind.
I mean, really, when it comes to black, like it's just like still just destroy all creatures.
Well, yeah. With like some bonuses sometimes.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna get it cheap, like with Toxic Deluge, you got to pay life.
Yeah.
But even then, you have to pay, a ton of life if there's a big creature that you need to get rid of. So it still is going to come at a cost for also being so cheap. Whereas you get removal spells like Decree of Pain, where it's destroy all creatures, and you draw a card for each creature that was destroyed this way. But that's also 8 mana. So
what I think I think Living Death is my favorite, like, black mass removal spell.
Yeah, I agree. Living Death is it's especially good when you have been the source of getting targeted.
Yes.
But not many other people have had their shit removed.
Yes.
That's when it's, of course, always going to feel at its best there.
The great underdog card.
Yeah, just to kind of shift things completely around. It's like Trick Room, in a sense. That's what Living Death can feel like at its best.
Yes, I definitely been on. I know what you mean when it feels like Trick Room, because just having the game turned upside down.
Yeah,
it does not feel good.
It's one of them Ace Attorney cards.
It really is. But now we would move on to Red Aggro.
Yes. Red easily handles artifacts and cheap creatures and small creatures very efficiently. Lightning Bolt, handles quite a lot of things just by itself, and then it scales up from there. The more and more damage, though, that you need to do, you tend to pay a lot more for the removal as well. Red also does get some kind of like transformation style effects with like Chaos Warp, where it's like shuffle the card or destroy it, and then they shuffle and then reveal until they hit a non-land or hit something that shares the same type or something like that. So they still end up getting something back, but that also lets Red handle enchantments or big creatures really easily, whereas they couldn't do that beforehand. And it's kind of like, as a Red mage, you want to risk it if you're just playing Red.
Yeah, you can't really afford not to. It's kind of funny how Red works. Because they also have access to their own doubling damage and copying spells, so that helps with the way they destroy things, which luckily they do have like a bunch, like, they're better at board wiping than the other colors, because they just give damage. It usually just gives damage out to whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's not Dogpile. Dogpile is well, I do want to talk about Dogpile now. I think it deals like double the damage, double the number of creatures. The number of creatures you control, double that number, and it deals that number of damage to a target creature. Mm-hmm. And that in of itself is a pretty cool kill spell from Red.
As a board wipe version of that, Red also gets Chain Reaction, where it's 2 and 2 red. It deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Red is a color that will just shit out creatures, so it does have a way to get around like big creatures pretty easily. Another good one is just Blasphemous Act as well. 13 kills most things in the game, and it's often just cast for 1 red. It doesn't take much to get it down there. Hell, I'd pay 5 mana for that, to deal 13 damage to everything is like a perfectly fine card, and the fact that it's sometimes better than that is crazy.
Yeah, Blasphemous Act is the goated Red destruction spell.
Easily. Red also gets land destruction as well, pretty cheaply too, at like 3 and 4 mana. So you do have access to being able to nuke problematic lands pretty easily, so long as no one's throwing a fit about that.
Oh, we forgot to talk about Armageddon when we were talking about White.
True.
Yeah.
But I would say that is less removal feeling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like with Red's land destruction that it has access to, the majority of it is single target.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas with like mass land destruction, it's more just like, it's not just like used as a removal effect. It's used as like a truly like game warping effect.
Yeah, it's more like a stacks piece.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that just feels functionally different.
Yeah, that's very true. But next we're moving on to the Mighty Green.
Yes.
Which I think has like my favorite way to remove things, which is just hitting it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
you have something in play, and then it just punches the shit out of the other thing
yeah,
with either fight or bite spells. Often pretty cheap, usually being around 2 mana, some cases 1 mana, oftentimes instant speed.
yeah. It's been interesting seeing like just the one drop bite spells. I'm like, ooh, I'm trying to think of one that I play a lot, but Bushwhack.
I was just about to say
Bush,
Bushwhack is insane.
yeah, Bushwhack is insanely good.
The fact that it's my next land drop when I need it. Otherwise, oh cool, 1 mana kill a creature.
Yes.
Like
Take that, black. Get more
exact
efficient than that.
exactly. No, Bushwhack is crazy. Green also gets really easy access to an artifact and enchantment removal as well, with very similar spells like white having stuff like naturalize or creatures that enter and destroy things. Um, and as you get higher up, you also will see some of those spells also just nuke creatures with flying as well. Green does not like flyers,
Yes.
so they often do get at higher mana values spells that can just kill flyers outright. They don't really have any board wipes though,
No.
aside from like there's like artifact and enchantment wipes, but like
Yeah.
there's a couple of those, but that's not really like usually what you're wanting a board wipe to do. You also want it to hit creatures in most
Yeah.
cases, which every other color is capable of doing. There's like one green card, Azuri's Predation, where it's like you make a 4/4 for each creature your opponents control, and then each 4/4 fights one creature.
Yeah, that
But that's like the only one.
yeah, that it sounds pretty fun though.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, unfortunately, green can't deal with. It's funny, it can't deal with the thing it does well, with just like taking out multiple creatures in a row.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the opposite of red, where red would be able to deal with the small creatures that are being split out all the time. But we want to move on to the different ways that the colors come together to destroy and hate on things. One of my favorite removal spell is Void Rend. Um, white, blue, black can't be countered, and you can pick anything that's not a land and goes to the grave. That's pretty solid removal all around, and it's work at instant speed. Um, 3 isn't that like it's harder to cast murder with more potential than murder.
exactly. Like, yeah, you're paying. It's harder. It's definitely harder to cast than murder, but and it goes in less decks than murder is capable of. But the flexibility is what you're really playing it for, especially because it costs the same amount as murder as well.
Yes.
And moving on to one of my favorite removal spells is Hull Breach. A red and a green. It's a sorcery. Choose one. Destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or hit both. 2-for-1s are awesome. And yeah, sorcery speed does kind of suck, but it's also only 2 mana. And it doesn't usually get too much better than 1 mana per thing that you're blowing up. So yeah, it's a little limited, but it does what green does in hitting, enchantments, and red does in hitting artifacts, and fuses it, very cleanly, very well. I think Void Rend also very cleanly fuses white, blue, black as well. The blue making it uncounterable, and then non-land permanent kind of encapsulating what white and black both are capable of destroying together. Both of these are very clean, elegant designs, I think, and showcase just how like fun removal can be, as well as with Void Rend, you're not limited in what you're capable of hitting. So no matter what's causing you problems, you have a way to get it, and again, it cannot be countered. The only way they're going to get around that is something that like exiles the spell,
Right.
from the stack, which is not a very common effect that you're going to see. And with Hull Breach, again, just being a cheap 2-for-1, it doesn't get too much better than, the more that you get out of your cards, the better it's going to be. And this has like, really high trade up potential as well, since it hits 2 things. Hitting someone's Great Henge, and then hitting someone's like Cathar's Crusade, that's like 12 mana that I just blew up right there for my 2.
Yes, exactly. That gets the ball rolling in your favor so much. And now your opponents have to sit over there and weep and be like, now I got to think of a new plan.
Exactly. Another thing is about multicolor removal is that the more colors you're incorporating, the better removal you're getting overall, and the easier it is to cover one of your color's weaknesses. Like once you hit 3 colors, you usually have multiple ways to deal with any type of permanent that you want to get rid of. And so it really lets you, be flexible and be intentional about the removal that you run, because there's also so many to pick from. That, like with my Wolfguard deck, where it's all creatures and lands, I'm able to play, red cards that come in, destroy artifacts, green cards that come in, destroy enchantments that are just creatures as well. So it's, like I said, adding to the board while still subtracting something from your opponents as well. So you get to, make fun decisions with your removal that can further your game plan, and still also just run the best in class that you can because you have access to all of it.
In my Rafine deck, which I believe is like my most destructive deck, I run the classic suite of just like low cost kill spells and counter spells. My counter spells aren't all that fancy. I think all of them are like the 3-drop. If your opponent pays something, they can still get it off. But hey, it actually gets the job done. Those are actually very clutch because most of the time your opponent is gonna want to use up all their mana for their turn.
Yeah, making them think about what they want to do. There's really I don't remember what it's called. I think it's Confounding Conundrum. It's like 2 and a blue, choose one. Look at the top 4, put 1 into hand, and then I think the rest in the graveyard, or counter target spell unless its controller pays like 3 or 4. So, you kind of get, oh, there's a problematic spell, make it harder to cast, or counter it. Otherwise, card selection.
Right. And that's what we want. We want variety. We want flexibility.
Yes, flexibility is very important. Of course, Swords to Plowshares is really good, but it really only hits creatures. You don't want all of your removal just to be, oh, I only hit creatures, oh, I only hit one type of thing. Unless it's like kind of like the best in class style, like with swords, It's so cheap, but it's also so good at getting rid of creatures that it's worth it to run, even though it's just creatures.
Yes. Make the best obvious choice for your deck. But then again, you can. I forgot. We already put forward that this is bracket 3 talk.
Yeah.
Bracket 3, bracket 4.
Bracket 3, bracket 4. Yeah. Section. What did you say? Section 5, housing. Bracket 4 is what we are.
Yeah, we're the poor man's bracket 4.
Yeah, because we can dream big, but we don't have the big enough budget for that yet.
Yeah, but you can help with that. Give us all your money. This isn't. Give us all your money. Wait, we need to set up a PO box.
Yes, for them to mail in their money.
Yeah, because
as opposed to doing anything else.
Well, I just pointed a gun at the mic.
Here's my Cash App.
I was like, yeah, exactly. I can't give them the Cash App now. This is a threat, by the way. I know you can't see it, but my fingers are in a form. Just give us the money.
He has finger guns at the ready.
Yeah. Well, did we have anything else to mention about this?
If you don't give us money, we're going to use our removal spells on you.
Exactly.